You know, in my business, I see a lot of coins, gold, silver, you name it. But sometimes, it's the humble nickel that tells the best story. Let's talk about the Jefferson nickel. This story starts way back in 1938. The United States Mint was looking for a change. The coin they had been using for a while, the Buffalo nickel, was a beautiful design, no doubt about it, but it had its problems. The design was so detailed that the date would wear off pretty quickly. That's a big issue for collectors and for everyday commerce. The mint needed something new, something that would last. So, they decided to hold a competition, a big one. They wanted a new design for the 5-cent piece, and the theme was Thomas Jefferson. Why Jefferson? Well, the country was getting ready to celebrate the 200th anniversary of his birth. He was one of our most important founding fathers, the author of the Declaration of Independence, and our third president. Putting his face on a coin was a way to honor his incredible legacy. The competition drew a lot of artists, all hoping their design would be chosen to be in the pockets of millions of Americans for decades to come. The winner of that competition was a guy named Felix Schlag. His design was exactly what the mint was looking for. On the front, or the obverse, he created a strong and dignified portrait of Thomas Jefferson. It was a classic look, based on a famous sculpture. On the back, the reverse, he designed an image of Monticello. That was Jefferson's famous home in Virginia, a masterpiece of architecture that Jefferson designed himself. It was a perfect pairing. The man on the front, his home on the back. It told a complete story in a tiny metal circle. The Jefferson nickel officially entered circulation in November 1938. People liked it right away. It was a clean, modern design that was a big change from the rugged look of the Buffalo nickel. For years, these nickels were just part of daily life. You'd get them as change, use them in vending machines, and never think twice about them. The composition was a mix of 75% copper and 25% nickel, the standard recipe for the coin. Little did anyone know that a world war was just around the corner, and it was going to change this little coin in a very big and very valuable way. Then, World War II happened. Everything changed. The war effort needed all sorts of materials, and one of the most critical was nickel. That metal was essential for making armor plating for tanks, ships, and airplanes. Suddenly, the 25% nickel content in every 5-cent piece became a problem. The country was in a massive struggle for survival, and every bit of strategic material counted. The US Mint had to find a new recipe for the nickel, one that didn't use any, well, nickel. It was a challenge that required some clever thinking and a bit of metallurgical magic. The solution was a new alloy. The government authorized the mint to create a coin made of 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. That's right, for a few short years, the humble nickel actually contained silver. This was a temporary measure, just for the duration of the war, to make sure everyone could tell these new wartime nickels. Apart from the regular ones, the mint did something very important. They placed a large mint mark right on the back, above the dome of Monticello. This was the first time a P for the Philadelphia Mint was ever used on a U.S. coin. These silver wartime nickels were produced from mid-1942 all the way through 1945, so you have coins marked Media Group, collection of wartime nickels from 1942-1945 with visible mint marks, rotating display of coins with PS and D mint marks, timeline illustration of nickels, real coins laid out chronologically. Stock, distribute equally, 1942, P, 1942, S, 1943, P, 1943, S, 1943, D, and so on. But here's where the story gets really interesting and where a legendary error was born. In 1943, at the Denver Mint, something went wrong. The die they used to stamp the coins was prepared incorrectly. A die is the stamp that impresses the design onto the blank coin. This particular die had been punched with a D for Denver over a sideways S for San Francisco. It was a mistake, a mix-up at the mint. This mistake created what is now one of the most famous error coins in American history, the 1943 over 2p nickel. Wait, did I say 1943 over 2p? Let me back that up. The big one I meant to talk about is the 1943P with a doubled I. Hold on, let me get this straight. The rarest wartime nickel is the 1943S, but the rarest of them all is a different story. The true king is the 1937D three-legged buffalo nickel, but in the Jefferson series, the real money is in specific errors. The most valuable isn't a whole year, but a mistake. It's the 1942D over horizontal D. A punch for the mint mark was placed sideways, then corrected, creating a visible error that drives collectors wild. So, why does a tiny mistake like a mint mark punched sideways make a coin worth thousands of dollars? In the world of coin collecting, it all comes down to rarity and demand. Think about it. Millions and millions of Jefferson nickels were made in 1942 at the Denver Mint. But only a handful, a tiny fraction, were struck with this specific error before it was caught and corrected. No one knows the exact number that escaped the mint, but it's extremely low. This scarcity is what makes the 1942D over horizontal D nickel a holy grail for Jefferson nickel enthusiasts. Finding one of these is the ultimate treasure hunt. For decades, collectors and dealers have been sifting through millions of old nickels, a practice called coin roll hunting. They get boxes of rolled nickels from the bank, take them home, and carefully examine each one with a magnifying glass. They're looking for that faint trace of a horizontal D underneath the normal vertical D mint mark. It's a needle in a haystack search, requiring incredible patience and a very sharp eye. Most of the time, they find nothing but common nickels, but the dream of finding that one rare coin keeps them going. There have been some amazing stories over the years. I've heard about people finding these rare nickels in the most unexpected places. One story tells of a kid who got a roll of nickels from his grandpa, and, while looking through them out of boredom, found one of the valuable error coins. Another collector found one in his change after buying a cup of coffee. These stories are what fuel the hobby. They remind everyone that treasure isn't just in old pirate chests. Sometimes it's sitting right there in your pocket, just waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. The value can be staggering. A regular 1942D nickel is worth, well, 5 cents. But a 1942D over horizontal D, depending on its condition, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. If you find one in pristine, uncirculated condition, you're talking about a major payday. I've seen them go for over $20,000 at auction. That's the kind of thing that gets people excited. You go from having a nickel to having enough money for a down payment on a car, all because of a small mistake made at the mint over 80 years ago. It's a fantastic return on investment. The Jefferson nickel continues to be one of the most popular coins for both new and experienced collectors. Part of its appeal is its accessibility. You can still find these coins in your change today. The series is long and has seen many changes, from the wartime silver composition to the Westward Journey series in the early 2000s, which featured new reverse designs to commemorate the Lewis and Clark expedition. These different designs keep the series fresh and give collectors new goals. It's a living piece of history that continues to evolve, telling the story of America through the decades. The hunt for rare varieties like the 1942D over horizontal D, or the wartime silver nickels adds a layer of excitement that you just don't get with other hobbies. It connects us to the past in a tangible way. When you hold a 1943 silver nickel, you're holding an object that was made during a critical time in world history, created because of a global conflict. It's a small artifact that tells a big story about sacrifice and national effort. This historical connection is a huge part of why people become so passionate about collecting these coins. It's more than just a hobby, it's a way to touch the past. Even now, in 2026, people are still searching. The thrill of the hunt is timeless. With every handful of change, there's a small chance, a glimmer of hope, that a rare and valuable piece of history might be hiding among the common coins. It turns a simple trip to the grocery store into a potential treasure expedition. This excitement is passed down through generations, with parents and grandparents showing kids what to look for, sharing the stories and the history behind these fascinating little objects. It's a wonderful way to get young people interested in history and economics. Ultimately, the story of the rarest Jefferson nickel is a perfect example of what makes my business and the world of collecting so fascinating. It shows how something ordinary can become extraordinary. It's a story of history, of wartime necessity, and of a simple mistake that created immense value. So next time you get a nickel in your change, take a second to look at it. You never know. You might be holding a small piece of treasure in the palm of your hand. And that's a story I can always get behind.